Welcome back, Rare Coin Insider. Have you ever looked at a simple 1-cent coin from 1991 and thought it could be worth a life-changing fortune? Most people see it as just a penny, something you might ignore on the ground, something that holds almost no value in everyday transactions. But what if I told you that under the right circumstances, a 1991 United States 1-cent coin could be connected to stories of massive value, collector obsession, and even rumored valuations reaching into the millions? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1991 Lincoln cent, exploring its weight, symbol, design, history, and the incredible myths and realities behind its market value. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 1-cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln penny, is part of one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. First introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, this coin has gone through various design changes over the decades. But the 1991 version still carries the classic look that millions recognize instantly. On the obverse side, you will find the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and has remained a staple for over a century. Above Lincoln's head, the word Liberty is inscribed, while the year 1991 appears to the right. Just above his portrait, you'll see the famous motto, "In God We Trust." These inscriptions are not just decorative. They represent the identity and values tied to American currency. Every detail on this coin carries historical significance, from the typography to the placement of each word. Now, when it comes to the coin symbol or mint mark, the 1991 penny can come in a few variations. If the coin was minted in Philadelphia, it typically has no mint mark. If it was minted in Denver, you'll find a small D beneath the date. Coins minted in San Francisco, which are usually proof coins made for collectors, carry an S mint mark. These small letters can dramatically affect the value of the coin depending on rarity, condition, and demand. Moving to the reverse side, the 1991 penny features the Lincoln Memorial design, which was introduced in 1959. This design shows the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., with the words, "United States of America," above it and 1 cent below. If you look very closely at the center of the memorial, you can even see a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue inside. This level of detail in such a small coin is truly remarkable, and is one of the reasons collectors admire this series so much. Now let's talk about the weight and composition of the 1991 penny. By 1991, the composition of the penny had already changed from its earlier copper-heavy structure. The coin is primarily made of zinc with a thin copper plating. Specifically, it consists of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. The total weight of the coin is approximately 2.5 grams. This change in composition happened in 1982 due to rising copper prices, making it more economical to produce coins using zinc. Even though the intrinsic metal value of the coin is very low, its collector value can be something entirely different. And this is where things get interesting. While most 1991 pennies are worth only their face value or slightly more, certain rare variations, minting errors, or coins in exceptional condition can fetch significantly higher prices. Collectors often look for coins with errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual planchet defects. A 1991 penny with a strong double die error, for example, could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Similarly, coins that have been preserved in near-perfect condition, graded as MS-67 or higher, can command premium prices in auctions. Now, let's address the most fascinating part, the claim of a 1991 penny being worth up to $178 million. At first glance, this sounds unbelievable, and honestly, it is extremely unlikely in practical terms. No verified sale of a 1991 penny has ever reached anywhere near that figure. However, in the world of rare coins, rumors, speculation, and hypothetical valuations often circulate, especially when people consider unique or one-of-a-kind mint errors. Imagine a scenario where a 1991 penny was accidentally struck on a different metal, such as a planchet intended for another coin, or if it had an extremely rare minting anomaly combined with perfect preservation. In such a hypothetical case, collectors might place an astronomical value on it, especially if it became the only known example of its kind. These are the kinds of stories that fuel the excitement in the coin collecting community. But let's bring it back to reality. In today's market, a typical 1991 penny in circulated condition is worth exactly 1 cent. If it is uncirculated and in excellent condition, it might be worth anywhere from a few cents to a few dollars. Proof coins from San Francisco can be worth slightly more, especially if they are in pristine condition and still in their original packaging. The real value lies in the details. Collectors examine coins under magnification, looking for the smallest imperfections or unique characteristics. The color of the coin also matters. Pennies are often categorized as red, red-brown, or brown depending on how much of their original copper color remains. Red coins, which have retained their bright, original luster, are generally the most valuable. Another important factor is grading. Professional grading services evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-70 is considered perfect, with no visible flaws even under magnification. Achieving such a grade is extremely rare, especially for older coins, but when it happens, the value can skyrocket. The history of the Lincoln cent itself adds another layer of fascination. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Before that, coins typically displayed symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. This change marked a significant shift in American coin design and set a precedent for future coins. Over the years, the Lincoln penny has seen various reverse designs, but the Lincoln Memorial version remained in use from 1959 to 2008, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history. The 1991 penny is part of this long legacy, representing a period when the design had already become iconic. So why do people continue to search for valuable pennies? The answer lies in the thrill of discovery. The idea that something so small and seemingly insignificant could be worth a fortune is incredibly appealing. It turns everyday pocket change into a potential treasure hunt. People often check their coins hoping to find a rare error or an overlooked gem. And while the chances are slim, they are not zero. There have been real cases where individuals found coins worth thousands of dollars in their spare change. These stories keep the dream alive and encourage more people to take a closer look at the coins they handle every day. As you examine a 1991 penny, consider its journey. It may have passed through countless hands, traveled across states, and been part of transactions both big and small. Each coin carries a piece of history, a silent witness to the flow of time and commerce. In the end, the true value of a 1991 1-cent coin depends on a combination of factors: its condition, rarity, mint mark, and any unique features it might possess. While the idea of it being worth $178 million is more myth than reality, the excitement it generates is very real. And that's what makes coin collecting so captivating. It's not just about money, it's about history, craftsmanship, and the possibility of discovering something extraordinary in the most ordinary places. Now imagine going through your own collection or even your daily change, looking for that one coin that stands out. The shine, the detail, the tiny mint mark, all clues waiting to be uncovered. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than its face value. As we continue deeper into the world of the 1991 1-cent coin, it becomes even more fascinating when we explore the hidden layers that most people never even think about. You might be holding one right now, without realizing the tiny details that could separate an ordinary coin from something truly collectible. The difference between a common penny and a highly valuable one often comes down to microscopic features, subtle variations, and the story behind how the coin was created. Let's take a closer look at minting errors, because this is where things can get extremely interesting. Mint errors occur during the production process at the U.S. Mint, and they can happen for a variety of reasons: misaligned dies, incorrect planchets, or mechanical malfunctions. For the 1991 penny, collectors are always searching for errors such as double dies, where the design appears duplicated slightly due to a misalignment during striking. This can often be seen in the lettering, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust, where the edges of the letters may look slightly blurred or doubled. Another type of error that increases value is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the die, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become, especially if the date is still visible. A 1991 penny with a significant off-center strike could attract serious attention from collectors. Then, there are planchet errors, which occur before the coin is even struck. If a 1991 penny were somehow struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even another country's coin, it would become an incredibly rare and valuable piece. These kinds of errors are extremely uncommon, but when they do appear, they can sell for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars depending on the uniqueness and condition. Now let's talk about die cracks and cuts. Over time, the dies used to strike coins can develop cracks due to repeated use. When this happens, the coins produced may show raised lines or blobs of metal where the crack occurred. These are known as die cracks or cuts, and while some are minor and add little value, others can be quite dramatic and desirable among collectors. Condition, however, remains one of the most important factors in determining value. A coin that has never been circulated and retains its original luster is far more valuable than one that has been worn down over years of use. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate this, and even the smallest scratch or discoloration can affect the final grade. A 1991 penny graded MS65 is considered gem quality, while anything above that becomes increasingly rare and valuable. Color also plays a significant role. As mentioned earlier, pennies are categorized as red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red 1991 penny that has been preserved perfectly since it left the mint is much more desirable than one that has darkened over time. This is because the original red color indicates minimal oxidation and excellent preservation. Now, let's explore the production numbers. In 1991, billions of pennies were produced across different mints. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 5 billion coins, while the Denver Mint produced several billion as well. With such high mintage numbers, it's clear that the vast majority of 1991 pennies are not rare in the traditional sense. However, rarity is not just about how many were made, it's about how many have survived in exceptional condition or with unique characteristics. This is where population reports come into play. Professional grading services keep track of how many coins have been graded at each level. For example, there may be millions of 1991 pennies in existence, but only a tiny fraction might be graded MS67 or higher. These top-tier coins are the ones that can command significantly higher prices in auctions. Now let's address the psychological aspect of coin collecting. The idea that a simple penny could be worth millions creates a sense of excitement and curiosity. Even though the claim of a 1991 penny being worth $178 million is not supported by any verified sale, it sparks imagination and drives interest. People begin to look at their coins differently, paying attention to details they would normally ignore. There's also a strong emotional connection tied to coins. They are tangible pieces of history that you can hold in your hand. Unlike digital assets, coins have weight, texture, and a physical presence that connects you to the past. A 1991 penny might remind someone of their childhood, a specific place, or a moment in time. This emotional value can sometimes be just as important as monetary value. Another interesting angle is the role of auctions and private collectors. Rare coins often change hands through auctions, where collectors compete to acquire unique pieces. The final price of a coin is determined not just by its intrinsic qualities, but by how much someone is willing to pay for it. In some cases, bidding wars can drive prices far beyond what might be considered reasonable based on traditional valuation methods. Imagine a scenario where a one-of-a-kind 1991 penny with an extraordinary error is discovered and authenticated. If multiple wealthy collectors decide they must have it, the price could skyrocket. While reaching $178 million is highly improbable, the principle remains the same. Value is ultimately determined by demand. Let's not forget about counterfeit coins. As the value of rare coins increases, so does the risk of counterfeiting. Some individuals attempt to alter common coins to make them appear rare, such as adding fake mint marks or creating artificial errors. This is why authentication by professional grading services is crucial. They use advanced techniques to verify the authenticity of a coin and ensure that collectors are getting what they pay for. Storage and preservation are also key factors in maintaining a coin's value. Collectors often use protective holders, climate-controlled environments, and careful handling to prevent damage. Even exposure to air and moisture can cause a penny to lose its original color and luster over time. Now, think about the journey of a single 1991 penny from the moment it was minted. It starts as a blank planchet, is struck with incredible force to imprint the design, and then enters circulation. From there, it could travel across the country, passing through countless hands, being used in transactions, dropped, picked up, and eventually ending up in someone's collection or forgotten in a jar. Each coin has its own story, and that story adds to its uniqueness. While most 1991 pennies will never be worth more than a few cents, the possibility that one could be special is what keeps collectors searching. As you continue to explore the world of coin collecting, you'll begin to notice details that were once invisible. The sharpness of the design, the clarity of the lettering, the presence of any unusual marks, all of these elements come together to determine a coin's identity and value. And this is where the real magic lies. It's not just about finding a coin worth millions. It's about the process of discovery, the knowledge you gain, and the appreciation for something so small yet so rich in history. The 1991 1-cent coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but as you've seen, there is an entire universe hidden within it. From its design and composition to the rare errors and collector demand, every aspect contributes to its story. Now, let's delve even further into the fascinating and sometimes mind-boggling world of the 1991 1-cent coin. By now, you understand the basics: its design, mint marks, composition, and why certain errors can make it extremely valuable. But there's a lot more beneath the surface, including subtle variations, historical context, grading intricacies, and the psychology behind why collectors are willing to pay incredible sums for rare examples. One aspect that often goes unnoticed is the minute differences in coins struck at different mints. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints each had slight variations in die production, metal quality, and striking pressure. These differences can create coins that, to the trained eye, are noticeably distinct. For example, a Denver minted 1991 penny might show slightly different letter spacing or relief compared to a Philadelphia strike. While most collectors wouldn't pay extra for these differences, certain anomalies can make a specific coin uniquely valuable, especially if it combines multiple rare traits like a die error and a mint-specific quirk. Speaking of die errors, there are several that are especially sought after in the 1991 series. Double die-obverse coins, where the date or inscriptions appear doubled, are particularly prized. Collectors refer to them by the exact area of doubling, such as double-die Lincoln cent 1991 obverse. Even a tiny doubling on the letters Liberty or the digits in 1991 can make a coin significantly more collectible. Some of these coins are worth hundreds of dollars in circulated condition and thousands in top uncirculated grades. Imagine a single penny that, due to a tiny doubling mistake no larger than a millimeter, becomes the center of intense collector demand. Then, there are coins with repunched mint marks, commonly abbreviated as RPMs. These occur when the mint mark itself is stamped twice, slightly off-center. For a 1991 penny, an RPMD or RPMS can make it far more valuable than its face value. The severity and clarity of the repunching determine how much collectors will pay. Coins with strong, easily visible RPMs in perfect condition often fetch premium prices at auction. Another extremely rare phenomenon is the off-metal or foreign planchet strike. Although exceedingly rare, there have been historical cases in U.S. coinage where a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin. A hypothetical 1991 penny struck on a planchet meant for a dime or nickel could be worth a fortune due to its absolute uniqueness. While no verified case of a 1991 penny reaching such astronomical values exists, collectors are always on the lookout for these one-of-a-kind anomalies, fueling myths and legends about coins worth tens of millions. The condition of a coin is paramount, and understanding how grading works is essential for any serious collector. Professional grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, assign a numerical grade from 1 to 70. Uncirculated 1991 pennies are often graded MS60 to MS70, where MS stands for mint state. Each increase in grade can dramatically increase the coin's market value, even if the coin appears visually similar to an untrained eye. A coin graded MS67, for instance, might sell for 5 or 10 times more than an MS65 coin of the same type, simply because fewer coins reach that level of perfection. Even minor surface imperfections matter immensely. A tiny hairline scratch, a small discoloration, or even slight contact marks from other coins can downgrade a coin significantly. That's why collectors often handle coins with extreme care, using gloves and specialized holders. Some of the most valuable 1991 pennies have never touched human hands outside of the minting process. They are stored in pristine conditions, often in airtight holders that protect them from air, moisture, and dust. Color, as mentioned earlier, is another critical factor. Pennies are often categorized as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. A full red 1991 penny has retained nearly all of its original copper luster, and is far more desirable than a coin that has darkened or oxidized over time. Red coins in top grades can command significantly higher prices than their brown counterparts. Let's also explore the history of the Lincoln cent in more depth, because context matters in numismatics. Introduced in 1909, the Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. Abraham Lincoln was chosen to commemorate the centennial of his birth, and Victor David Brenner's portrait has become one of the most recognized images in U.S. numismatics. Over the decades, the coin has maintained a deep connection to American culture, symbolizing both history and the continuity of currency. By 1991, the Lincoln penny had been circulating for over 80 years, with the Lincoln Memorial reverse in place. This design not only honored the memory of Lincoln, but also tied the coin to an iconic American landmark, making it more than just a piece of currency. Each penny carries that legacy, connecting everyday commerce to a broader historical narrative. Now, let's examine the market dynamics for rare pennies like the 1991 one. While billions of pennies were produced, a tiny fraction are preserved in top condition or have collectible anomalies. Collectors, dealers, and investors form a highly competitive market where supply and demand dictate pricing. Auction houses regularly sell coins to the highest bidder, and bidding wars can significantly inflate prices. This is why even a small die error, repunched mint mark, or perfect condition coin can attract six-figure offers, or higher if multiple collectors are competing for it. Rumors about coins being worth tens or hundreds of millions, such as the $178 million figure often mentioned online for a 1991 penny, are more myth than reality. However, the idea captures the imagination because it represents the ultimate possibility in numismatics. A single coin so rare, so unique, that it becomes priceless in collector eyes. These stories keep collectors vigilant, examining every coin in circulation and in private collections for hints of extraordinary rarity. Counterfeiting also plays a role in the value and perception of rare pennies. As the market for rare coins has grown, so has the risk of counterfeit coins or altered coins. Some individuals attempt to create fake errors or add mint marks to increase perceived value. Professional authentication is critical to ensure that a coin story is genuine, and certificates from respected grading services add significant trust to a coin's market value. Storage and preservation cannot be overstated. Coins are highly susceptible to environmental factors. Even handling a coin with bare fingers can leave oils that degrade its surface over time. Serious collectors use specialized holders, climate-controlled safes, and careful cataloging to protect their coins. The fewer hands a coin passes through, the better its chances of remaining in top grade, which in turn preserves or increases its market value. Consider also the emotional aspect of collecting. Many collectors are motivated not only by potential financial gain, but also by the satisfaction of discovery and the historical connection each coin provides. Holding a perfectly preserved 1991 penny in your hand is like holding a piece of history. Its design, metal, and minting process connecting you to the past. The pursuit of rarity and perfection is as much an intellectual and emotional endeavor as it is a financial one. Finally, the value of a 1991 penny is not fixed. It is influenced by trends in the collector market, economic conditions, and even pop culture attention. A coin that was previously overlooked can suddenly become highly sought after if a famous auction brings it to light, or if collectors discover a previously unknown error. This dynamic market ensures that every coin has potential, even if only a small fraction of them ever reach extraordinary value. As we continue this exploration, it's time to dive even deeper into the extraordinary possibilities that surround the 1991 1-cent coin, especially when it comes to extremely rare and high-value examples. While most 1991 pennies are worth only their face value, the potential for rare anomalies, collector demand, and market speculation makes even this humble coin a fascinating object of study. One of the most compelling aspects of collecting 1991 pennies is the pursuit of the Holy Grail coins. Those few examples that are either one-of-a-kind errors or perfectly preserved specimens that stand out from billions of ordinary coins. For instance, consider a hypothetical 1991 penny struck on a misaligned die with a double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and preserved in pristine red condition. Each individual characteristic, doubling, repunching, and red color, already adds value, but combined, they create a coin that could be considered extraordinary by collectors. Theoretically, if such a coin existed and were authenticated, it could attract offers that far exceed ordinary market expectations, which is how stories of multi-million-dollar valuations emerge. The fascinating thing about coins like this is how each tiny detail is magnified under scrutiny. Numismatists, the experts in coin collecting, use high-powered magnification to examine every surface. They look for die clashes, micro scratches, planchet flaws, and even die rotations that are invisible to the casual observer. A minuscule variation in the positioning of Liberty or the date 1991 could transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Every ridge, letter, and number carries potential significance, and in some cases, coins with imperfections are actually more valuable because those imperfections are rare. Let's talk about die cracks in more detail. Over time, the steel dies used to strike coins develop stress fractures. When a die crack occurs, coins struck afterward can display raised lines or unusual shapes where the metal filled the cracked die. For 1991 pennies, some die cracks are tiny and subtle, barely noticeable, while others are prominent enough to create dramatic raised lines across the coin's surface. Certain pronounced die cracks are highly sought after by collectors, especially if they are consistent across a small number of coins, making them effectively rare. Error series. Equally fascinating is the phenomenon of off-metal strikes. While rare, there are instances in U.S. mint history where coins were struck on planchets meant for other denominations. Imagine a 1991 penny accidentally struck on a nickel or dime planchet. The resulting coin would have completely unusual metal content and weight. A coin like this would be instantly recognizable to experts, and its rarity would drive extreme collector interest. The idea of a coin that looks like a penny but is composed of the wrong metal has inspired some of the most legendary tales in numismatics, including valuations in the millions. Population reports are another crucial aspect for serious collectors. Organizations like PCGS and NGC track the number of coins graded at each level. For example, while billions of 1991 pennies exist in circulation, only a tiny fraction have been graded MS67 or higher. These high-grade coins are extremely rare and, because scarcity drives demand, they often command premium prices. The exact number of coins in each grade can influence market trends. When collectors know that only a few dozen coins of a specific type exist at a top grade, competitive bidding can push prices sky-high. Proof coins are also a key area of interest. 1991's pennies were specially struck at the San Francisco Mint as proof coins, intended primarily for collectors rather than circulation. Proof coins are struck with polished dies and planchets, giving them exceptional detail and a mirror-like finish. Because proof coins were produced in relatively limited quantities, they are often more valuable than their circulated counterparts. An uncirculated 1991's proof in perfect condition can attract significant interest from collectors, especially if it displays rare characteristics or is accompanied by its original packaging from the mint. It's important to note that while the idea of a 1991 penny being worth $178 million is mostly speculative or part of online myth, it's rooted in a real phenomenon. When a coin is truly unique, both in condition and error, collectors may ascribe almost any value to it. There are historical precedents where unique coins or one-of-a-kind errors have sold for staggering sums, though rarely to the tune of hundreds of millions. The value is tied less to intrinsic metal content and more to rarity, historical significance, and the collector market's perception. Now let's consider counterfeiting and alterations, which are always a risk in the rare coin market. As the potential value of a coin rises, some unscrupulous individuals attempt to manufacture rare coins by altering mint marks or artificially creating die errors. For example, someone might add a fake S or D mint mark to a common coin to suggest it was struck at a different mint, or attempt to create a doubling effect on the letters. Professional authentication is essential to distinguish genuine anomalies from fabricated ones. Grading services meticulously examine coins for evidence of tampering, ensuring that collectors can trust the authenticity of what they purchase. Storage and handling are equally critical. Even the most valuable coin can lose value if it is damaged or exposed to environmental factors. Collectors store coins in airtight holders, often using inert materials that prevent chemical reactions. Climate-controlled environments are essential to prevent oxidation, discoloration, or corrosion. Proper storage preserves the original red color, fine details, and surface integrity of a coin, maintaining or even increasing its market value over time. The psychological appeal of coin collecting is another fascinating element. Collectors are drawn not just to monetary potential, but to the thrill of discovery. Searching through coins in circulation, collections, or estate sales, they imagine finding the next great rarity, a 1991 penny that might change their lives. That dream drives countless hours of meticulous inspection and careful study, blending patience, knowledge, and passion. Even minor details like font spacing, relief depth, or planchet texture can spark excitement. Collectors often study die varieties for years, documenting subtle differences that might indicate a rare strike or minting anomaly. In many cases, coins that appear ordinary to the untrained eye reveal extraordinary details under magnification. The science of numismatics is as much about observation and analysis as it is about history and aesthetics. Market dynamics also play a huge role in value. Coins are bought and sold at auctions, through private sales, and via dealers. The price realized is not fixed. It depends on how much buyers are willing to pay at any given time. A rare coin discovered today might fetch a higher price tomorrow if interest in that variety increases. Conversely, market trends, economic factors, or changes in collector interest can influence the perceived value of a coin. Finally, let's reflect on the historical and cultural significance of the Lincoln penny. More than a simple piece of currency, it is a symbol of American history. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, the coin has carried his image for over a century. Each 1991 penny, whether common or rare, continues that legacy, serving as a tangible link to both the past and the evolving story of American numismatics. As we explore the 1991 penny in even greater depth, we realize that each coin is a combination of history, craftsmanship, and potential rarity. It's not just the metal or the date, it's the minting process, the condition, the errors, and the human fascination with rarity and perfection that make even a single cent a subject of intense study and admiration. The world of coin collecting transforms a humble piece of metal into a story, a pursuit, and sometimes a dream of extraordinary value. As we move into an even deeper exploration of the 1991 1-cent coin, it's essential to understand just how intricate and fascinating the world of numismatics can be. While most people handle pennies without a second thought, collectors see them as miniature works of art, historical artifacts, and potential investments. The 1991 Lincoln cent, in particular, offers a remarkable case study in how small details, rarity, and market forces combine to create both excitement and speculation in the coin world. One aspect that makes the 1991 penny particularly interesting is the variation in strike quality. Even coins produced at the same mint in the same year can display noticeable differences due to die wear, striking pressure, and planchet quality. A penny struck early in a die's life may exhibit exceptionally sharp detail, while one struck later may appear slightly flat or worn. Collectors pay close attention to these subtleties, as early strike coins with full detail are often more valuable, particularly if paired with other desirable characteristics like strong luster or minimal contact marks. Another point of fascination is the rare occurrence of doubled die reverse coins. While doubled die obverse errors are more commonly discussed, there are cases where doubling occurs on the reverse side, affecting the Lincoln Memorial design. Subtle doubling in the columns, lettering, or even the tiny representation of Lincoln inside the memorial can transform an otherwise ordinary penny into a collectible gem. Detecting these doubled die reverses requires keen observation and sometimes magnification, but when confirmed, they can add significantly to the coin's desirability and value. Planchet anomalies also play a crucial role in the collector market. A planchet is the blank metal disc before a coin is struck, and any imperfections in it can result in unique variations. Sometimes a planchet might be clipped, cracked, or improperly alloyed, leading to coins with unexpected textures or shapes. For a 1991 penny, A planchet anomaly combined with an otherwise flawless strike could make it an extremely rare and sought-after piece. Coins with such anomalies are often featured in major auctions, sometimes drawing bids well above typical market prices. The impact of high-grade specimens cannot be overstated. While billions of 1991 pennies were minted, only a small fraction remain in top uncirculated condition. Coins graded MS-67 or higher are exceedingly rare, and their scarcity directly influences their value. Top-grade coins are often sold in sealed holders with certification, ensuring that buyers know exactly what they are purchasing. These coins often become the centerpiece of serious collections, and their rarity contributes to the mythos of extraordinarily high valuations, even if claims of tens or hundreds of millions remain speculative. Collectors also focus on color preservation. Pennies are categorized based on their remaining copper tone: red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. Red coins retain nearly all of their original copper luster and are highly prized. Red-brown coins, which have started to oxidize slightly, are moderately valuable, while brown coins, which have fully oxidized, are usually worth less. A 1991 penny in brilliant red condition with strong strike detail is a prime example of why condition matters immensely in determining value. Historical context adds another layer of significance. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909, marked the first time a real U.S. historical figure appeared on regular issue coinage. By 1991, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design had been in use for over 3 decades. The coin's combination of historical importance, aesthetic design, and familiarity makes it a central piece for collectors seeking both beauty and a connection to American history. Every detail, from Lincoln's portrait to the inscriptions and the depiction of the memorial, carries meaning. Market psychology also drives the perceived value of coins. Rumors of high-value coins often circulate online, sometimes inflating expectations. A single penny with unique characteristics, whether a die error, unusual planchet, or perfect preservation, can attract intense interest. Even if the widely cited $178 million valuation is unrealistic, it highlights the collector community's fascination with rarity and uniqueness. Stories of extraordinary finds keep enthusiasts searching, examining each coin in circulation for hidden potential. Authentication and professional grading are critical in maintaining market integrity. As rare coins become more valuable, the risk of counterfeit or altered coins rises. Professional services like PCGS and NGC verify authenticity and assign grades, ensuring buyers can trust the coin's quality. These certifications add legitimacy and often allow coins to command higher prices at auction. Without professional verification, even a coin with a remarkable error or condition might be viewed skeptically by serious collectors. Preservation techniques also play a major role. Collectors take extraordinary measures to maintain a coin's condition. Coins are stored in protective holders, often in controlled environments to prevent oxidation or tarnishing. Handling is done with gloves to avoid oils from skin contact. Even minor exposure to air or moisture can alter a coin's color, reducing its value. In the case of a 1991 penny, careful preservation ensures that original red luster and strike detail are maintained, maximizing its collectible potential. Emotional factors cannot be ignored. Collecting is as much about passion and the thrill of discovery as it is about monetary gain. The idea that a single coin could be unique, historically significant, and exceptionally valuable motivates collectors to study, hunt, and invest in coins meticulously. Each discovery, whether a subtle error or a perfect specimen, provides both personal satisfaction and a tangible connection to history. The circulation history of the 1991 penny also adds context. Billions of pennies were produced and passed through countless hands. Each coin traveled a different path, experiencing wear, handling, and environmental factors. Some coins were stored carefully from the beginning, while others saw heavy circulation. This history impacts condition and rarity, which in turn affects collector interest. Coins that survived in uncirculated, red condition after decades are rare precisely because most pennies were used as everyday currency. Another dimension is auction dynamics. Rare coins often reach their highest value through competitive bidding. Unique examples, especially those with multiple desirable traits, can attract collectors willing to pay premium prices. This is how even a modestly rare 1991 penny with specific errors and perfect preservation can exceed typical market expectations. Auction outcomes depend on timing, collector demand, and perceived scarcity, which makes each sale an event in the numismatic community. Finally, consider the broader implications of collecting a coin like the 1991 penny. It's a microcosm of history, art, economics, and human curiosity. What appears ordinary in everyday life can, under the right circumstances, reveal extraordinary stories and value. The combination of minting details, errors, preservation, and historical significance transforms a simple 1-cent coin into an object of fascination, debate, and potential treasure. Even after exploring minting variations, errors, grading, preservation, historical significance, and market psychology, there are still more layers to uncover. From rare proofs to population statistics and unique auction stories, the 1991 penny continues to captivate collectors. Every detail matters, from die lines to mint mark placement, and every coin has the potential to tell a story that spans decades, connecting the mundane with the extraordinary in the world of numismatics. As we reach the final stages of our deep dive into the 1991 1-cent coin, it's time to tie everything together and reflect on why this tiny piece of metal continues to inspire fascination, speculation, and passion among collectors worldwide. The 1991 Lincoln cent is more than just currency. It's a symbol of history, craftsmanship, human curiosity, and the potential for extraordinary rarity hidden in the most ordinary of objects. By now, you've seen how much depth there is in examining even a single penny. From its design to composition, from minting variations to errors, from grading nuances to market dynamics, every aspect plays a role in determining the coin's significance and potential value. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, a figure synonymous with leadership, integrity, and the nation's history, while the reverse Lincoln Memorial design captures the essence of American architecture and symbolism. Every curve, line, and inscription is meticulously crafted, yet tiny imperfections or anomalies in this process can create some of the rarest and most sought-after coins in numismatics. Errors, like doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and planchet anomalies make each coin unique in its own way. Even a minor die crack or a subtle misalignment can elevate a coin from ordinary to exceptional in the eyes of collectors. While billions of 1991 pennies were minted and circulated, only a tiny fraction survive in pristine condition, creating scarcity that drives collector interest. The coins that do survive uncirculated and in brilliant red condition are precious, sometimes commanding thousands of dollars, and fueling dreams of even higher valuations. Professional grading, authentication, and preservation play a central role in realizing a coin's true potential. Without authentication, even a rare error or perfect specimen could be dismissed or undervalued. Grading services like PCGS and NGC not only certify authenticity, but also provide a numeric grade that helps buyers and sellers understand the coin's quality and rarity. Storage techniques, including protective holders and climate-controlled environments, ensure that the original luster, color, and fine details remain intact. This meticulous care is part of what makes high-grade 1991 pennies so valuable. Market psychology adds yet another layer to the story. Rumors of extreme valuations, such as claims of a single 1991 penny being worth $178 million, may be sensational, but they capture the imagination and highlight the human fascination with rarity, uniqueness, and the what-if scenario. Even without such astronomical prices, the fact that collectors are willing to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for rare errors or high-grade specimens shows the intense desire to possess something extraordinary. It's a combination of rarity, history, condition, and the thrill of discovery that drives this market. Perhaps the most profound lesson the 1991 penny offers is the reminder that value is not just about intrinsic materials or face value. It's about story, history, rarity, and the perception of worth. Every coin carries the journey of its creation, the hands it passed through, and the decades it survived. Some coins are ordinary, while others tell a tale of minting anomalies, perfect preservation, or historical context that elevates them far beyond their nominal value. In the end, the 1991 Lincoln cent embodies the beauty of numismatics, the idea that something so small, so commonly overlooked, can contain layers of history, artistry, and potential value waiting to be uncovered. Whether you are a casual collector, a dedicated numismatist, or someone who simply appreciates history, this coin invites you to look closer, study carefully, and imagine the possibilities hidden in the everyday objects around you. The story of the 1991 penny is not just about coins, it's about curiosity, patience, and the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that treasures exist in the most unexpected places, and that even a single cent can connect us to history, artistry, and the endless fascination of the human pursuit of rarity and perfection. The next time you hold a 1991 penny in your hand, take a moment to appreciate it, not just as a piece of metal, but as a witness to history, a product of craftsmanship, and a potential gateway into the extraordinary world of coin collecting. That simple coin, which most might overlook, carries with it stories, mysteries, and the timeless allure of something rare and remarkable. In the world of numismatics, even a single cent can hold a universe within it, and that is the legacy of the 1991 1-cent coin, small in size, yet monumental in potential, history, and fascination. It is a reminder that in the tiniest objects, the greatest stories can be found. This is where our journey ends, but for collectors and enthusiasts, the exploration never truly stops. Every coin has a story, and every discovery can unlock a new chapter in the ever-evolving history of numismatics. The 1991 penny is proof that even the smallest coin can inspire dreams, intrigue, and a lifelong passion for discovery. It's not just a penny, it's a window into history, rarity, and the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. If you want, I can combine all the 6 parts into one seamless 7,000-word mega script ready to use directly for YouTube without interruptions or repeated phrases, so you get a full-length continuous narrative. This will save you from copying each part individually.